Hi, I'm Dr. John Lindstedt, and I'm an assistant professor of cognitive science in the Department of Computer Science, and I teach cognitive science and information science courses here at SUNY Oswego. Information science lives in the space between hardcore computer science and human cognition, right? And it turns out there's a lot of shared questions between the two. How is information structured? How is it stored and accessed? How do we search it? Both in the internet, but also in your own human memory, right? And the answers aren't always the same between human systems and computer systems, but they have a lot of overlapping parts. All right, I want to give you a detailed picture of my own educational path so that maybe it'll resonate with your own so far or your future plans, So here's where it starts. I did my undergrad near home at Eastern Michigan University doing psych and comp sci. Took 5 years to do my 4 years. Cheers to pacing yourself. After a bit of an existential wake-up call in my third year, I started getting involved, right? I both as an undergrad research assistant in psych and as a programming tutor in comp sci. I just got busy with my life on campus, right? And the further I pushed into these fields, the more I saw the same questions coming up over and over. How do we characterize the behavior of these complex information processing systems, both computers and human minds, right? So when my supervising professor told me, there's no reason you couldn't get a PhD, it came as a sort of a surprise, like, oh, word? So I gave grad school a shot to keep investigating these questions that I was finding along the way. And that was at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, for a degree in cognitive science, this strange and wild middle ground between psychology and comp sci, spreading its threads out into AI, philosophy, linguistics, anthropology, all these different connected fields, right? I spent 7 years there learning to run my own projects, building and maintaining various of my own research tools and apps, collecting and analyzing experimental data, interacting with weird hardware like eye trackers and EEG nets and stuff. And by the time I graduated with my PhD, I was lined up to take a postdoc research position at Rice University, attached to a project using complex models of cognitive agents to predict things like human errors on voting ballots, right? So bringing it into the real world. Plenty there to discuss another time if you wanna knock on my door. While I was there, I did eventually come to the realization that chasing these multi-million-dollar grants and building gigantic PhD student laboratories was a bit beyond the scope to which I'd care to commit my life. So I went searching for a job that's a bit more directly involved at the teaching level. After just one quick visit to Oswego and a good interview, I found this to be a really ideal environment for balancing my research skills and interests with this commitment to teaching as well, staying involved at this level. So all that said, then the funniest thing happened last year, right? So meaning at time of recording, I've taught more online than I have off. So I hope it's clear that I take this online format seriously. This is my primary modality at this point. So that's where I'm working from. The best thing about teaching systems as complex as human minds and search engines is being able to watch students' reactions resembling variations on, oh crap, there's a lot going on under the hood, right? So sometimes that's just realizing that there's no magic in the way that a search engine works, and sometimes it's realizing that there's no magic in the way that the human cognitive system works. Historically, my research has focused on bringing more complex tasks like video games into the laboratory, like studying world champion Tetris players to better understand human expertise in real-time tasks, or using more complex models to help understand the errors you make on deceptively simple things like voting ballots, right? Lately though, I'm finding myself more interested in the questions underlying how we interact online, of chief interest to you right now. How our brains handle things like audio lag in conversations, or how much better a Zoom call could be if we could simulate 3D audio positioning for each voice, as opposed to them all being in the center of our heads. What I learn from my students is a bit of everything. Which ideas are landing, what's working, are my videos a good length, which concepts are sticking in your minds, what are y'all most interested in, what else can I offer? I'm always tweaking something about the courses, and with any luck, they're becoming all the better, bit by bit.